Hi, I'm James Olin, and I am interviewing my dad about hunting and fishing. Um, so, how long have you been hunting and fishing in Louisiana?
Almost my entire life. Of course, we began fishing earlier because all you got to do is hold a pole and wait for the cork to go down and then pull up a perch. Uh, Hunting takes a lot longer because you got to teach them from when you're young, the safety aspects and the, the kind of the conservation deal. Whatever you kill, you eat.
Um, what stories about the outdoors, whether referring to personal events or someone else's, are most memorable to you?
Ooh, I could go a bunch of those. Uh, Earliest, we had a 12-foot aluminum boat in which my brother and I, my younger brother and I, were on the front seat, which was extremely little. My mama and sister were in the middle seat, and my daddy and my older brother were in the back seat. And there was a 5.5 engine uh, scissor buck deal that we went and we fished down Chacahula, down the water there, and go perch fishing and all that. But just to ride in a boat with your whole family was just so much fun. Another, I always look forward to crabbing down Robinson Canal. We'd go over there, and all you had to do was just drop your nets on the side of the dock. And Mama and I and Mark and Pauline would mostly crab, and Daddy and Lloyd, my older brother, would go fishing. And those were just fun family deals. And if we didn't catch much, then we'd buy a hamper of crabs and then still boil crabs on the way back. But going down there, that was just fun, and that was on a shell road, and, and very little equipment to deal with. Some other uh, interesting deals. As I got later, I made friends in North Louisiana, and we went hunting in a camp in which there was no running water, electricity, nothing. It was just a camp out in the woods that had a wood stove. He brought a sleeping bag, and we had a wood fire, and that we cook a little on that wood stove, and then on an open fire and cook jambalayas and breakfasts, and it was just fun. Just we'd go out and go duck hunting, we'd go squirrel hunting and all that. Which reminds me, one of my favorite deals to go was squirrel hunting. And all you had to do, we would just go in back of the house where we used to live. And I'd go with a 22. Used to originally went with a 410, but they messed them up too much. So I'd go with a 22 rifle. And when you come home with 4 squirrels with a 22, you're doing some pretty good hunting, and Daddy'd be proud of me. But something that was real interesting in those days, Southland Dragway was a big deal over there. In fact, right now, that's where the Voice of the Wetlands Festival is held. But they used to have a big dragway, and people would just drag against your friend or your neighbor, and then they'd have some almost professionals go out and drag. And while I was squirrel hunting, I could hear even the voices. It was amazing how that it traveled. I could hear Southland Dragway announcing this and talking in the woods, and when I came back up, I couldn't hear a thing. That was an interesting deal, and I love to squirrel hunt. And when I come, I said, "Golly, I could hear the Southland." Oh, there's no way you could hear that far. And I don't know, as the crow flies, it might be 4 miles, but I could hear it as clear as a bell out in the woods.
The story with dad and his double barrel with the geese.
With the what?
Like,
Oh, yeah. Now that with my daddy. Uh, he bought that gun in 1929. He had a mean, terrible stepfather, and he ran away from home and stayed with his uncle and aunt. And he came home, and with the money he had gotten at Christmas time, he got an otter on Christmas Day. And even in those days, that was big money. And with the money he got from that, he bought a double barrel Stevens 12 gauge shotgun. And oh, he was so proud of that gun. And on one time he was coming from Morgan City to Thibodaux in the on Chacahula Road, and he could hear a bunch of geese, and so he parked the car and went out in the swamp, and he saw, I mean, it was hundreds of geese, and he put both barrels in there, and he said, if I'd have known how heavy, he killed like 12 geese, and so he tried carrying 12 geese and a gun through that swamp. he was dead tired, but all his friends and all the family got to eat a goose that year, which was, boy, that was like a specialty.
Do you find that hunting and fishing outdoors has a certain lure or storytelling tradition associated with like the activity?
Most of the deal, now half of the stories are elaborations, and as they say, the number of rabbits gets larger each story, and the number of squirrels, how many horns the deer has gets a little, sometimes gets longer depending on if the person actually knows the story or not. But it is just so much fun listening to stories, or especially around a campfire when there's, like I said, that deal in the woods. Oh, the stories. You ought to hear about this and this, and then they tell stories about outlaws, because they have outlaws too. It's a shame to say, but they have some of those. But just the stories is just so much fun, and a lot of the jokes that you hear would go along with some of the stories. It's really just so much fun. Half of the fun of hunting and fishing is the stories. It really is.
Thank you.